Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where on screen we have Tetris Sudoku for you today. This is courtesy of Ryan Oswald, who appeared on the channel a couple of weeks ago with a beautiful puzzle themed on Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night painting. It was a very well received video, so I hope this will be as good. I have every reason to expect it will be. Our tester really liked this puzzle. And Ryan himself says that it has a difficult beginning, so I don't know what that means, but we shall see in a moment. I'll talk you through the rules in just a sec. I want to give a quick shout out though to the puzzle hunts that we've got running at the moment over on Patreon. They're not behind the paywall, totally free. The junior puzzle hunt has been getting great reviews. It's had a bit of celebrity publicity here in the UK. A couple of authors have tweeted about it. So Simon Singh and Alex Bellos, thank you very much for doing that. Do check it out. We have reports of children as young as 8 years old being able to solve it, so that is quite stunning. And the adult puzzle hunt, I've literally just had an email from a team who compete in the MIT Mystery Hunt, and they have successfully solved the adult puzzle hunt. So congratulations to the team of Marco Penzo, Gioso V, Autumn Leaves, Panda, and J Kitty Kit Kat. I think I've read that right. I may not have done, but you guys know who you are. Very impressive. I know that 2 or 3 other teams or people are quite close behind you. So at least now you all know it is solvable. And do persevere. These guys have given some great feedback on it, so it's definitely worth carrying on with. Now, how does this puzzle work? Well, you can see we've got Tetris shapes in the grid. Now, the Tetris shapes all need to contain exactly the same 4 digits. So every one of these has to have the same 4 digits, and where a Tetris shape shares an edge with a white cell, so this would be a good example, the white cell must be larger. So this square must be bigger than whatever we put in this one. It doesn't apply diagonally, so these 2 squares, there is no restriction at all. But wherever a Tetris shape interacts along a whole edge with a white shape, these 2 cells, for example, the white cell would have to be greater. That's all there is to it. You can see it's a lovely symmetrical setup, and in a sec we're going to have a go. Now, do have a go yourselves. Click on the link under the video, and that will take you to our web page where you can play along. Now, this puzzle immediately reminds me a little bit of, was it the 4Ts or the 5Ts Sudoku that Ard van der Vettering constructed, the brilliant constructor from the Netherlands, and we published that in a video about a month ago, so you may remember the logic from that one, and I suspect this one will be similar. With that, let's have a look. So, I mean, the first thing that strikes me as I look at it is I have a 2, 3 and a 5 already given in the shapes. So we know that 3 of the 4 digits in each grey shape are 2, 3 and 5. So, and we actually know some digits can't be in the grey shape. For example, this box contains a 6 and a 7 already, so 6 and a 7 are ruled out of being in any of the grey shapes, given they can't be in this one. Same with 9 same with 8. This 8 sees all 4 of those squares. So 6, 7, 8 and 9 can't go in the grey shapes. And 2, 3 and 5 do go in the grey shapes. So 1 and 4 are the only options for the 4th digit. Now, there's no 1s in the grid, but there is a 4. But look, if there was a 4 in the grey shape, let's look at this box. Where would we put a 1? A 1 would have to be in an orthogonally connected square with the grey shape, and 1 will always be less than whatever we put in the grey shape, and that will break the puzzle. So actually we know without doing anything that the grey shapes contain the numbers 1, 2, 3 and 5. And that means that square is an 8 because of these 8s here. It means these 2 squares must be 4 and 9. 9 here means there's a 9 in one of those 3 squares because there's no 9 in the grey shape, so actually that can't be a 9, that's a 4, that's a 9. There's an 8 in one of those 2. Oh, actually no, we can do better. There's a 4 and an 8 in those 2 squares, look, because this 4 and this 8, there must be a 4 in one of those 2 positions. And in fact, there must be a 6 in one of these 2. This is a 4-6 pair. So straight off, we're off and running here, because now why is this a 4-6 pair? Well, it's because in row 1, we have 4 grey cells, and we know those grey cells form a quadruple on the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 5. So now this square must be a 6. Ah, now we can go further than that. We've got 7s here. This must be a 7. This must be a 6. Now this must be a 6. Wow, I'm not sure if this is what we were meant to do to start, but we are certainly motoring along. There must be a 7 and a 9 in those squares, but the other cell is going to be a 2, 3, or 5. We don't, or 1, 2, 3, or 5, I suppose. Six, 7. Ah, 8 here. That's got to be an 8. So these squares are 4, 7, and 9 in some order. That can't be a 4. 8 is in one of those 2 squares. 6 is in one of these 2 squares. And one of these 2 squares. 9 is in one of these. Two is in one of those 2 squares, which means 2 is in one of those 3 squares. But 2 can't be in this square or this square. Now, why not? Because if we try and put a 2 in this square, yeah, this doesn't work, because this is connected orthogonally in 2 positions to a Tetris shape. And although I could try and put a 1 in one of these 2 squares, the other square would have to be a 3 or a 5, and that is greater than 2. So 2 can never go in either of those squares. 2 must be in this one. So these 3 squares are 1, 3, and 5 now. That means that one must be a 2. These 3 squares are 1, 3, and 5. Oh, same pattern down here. 2's, look. 2's again on this box. Oh, this is even better though, because now we know a 2 can't go here because it's connected orthogonally to 2 cells in the same Tetris shape. It can't go here for that reason either. So it's in one of these 2 cells, but it can't be in this one because this has already got a 2 in it. So it must be in that one. These 2 squares must be 1 and 5. That square must be a 2. Because we've already got 1, 3, and 5 in the grey cells. So we've got a 4th grey cell here. So these, there must be a 5 in one of those 2 squares. This must be a 1 or a 3. This must be a 1 or a 3. Oh no, yes, it must be a 1 or a 3. Sorry about this, just a second. Let me try and... 2's must be in this square or this square. And we have to be careful there, because whenever we put a 2, we've already seen it a little bit, but whenever we put a 2 in a cell next to a Tetris shape, the cell that's in the Tetris shape has to be a 1. So as the 2 can't go here, this square can't be a 1. Because the 2 here is going to force a 1 here, the 2 here will force a 1 here. The 1 is definitely in one of those 2 squares. 7, that can't be a 7, look. Three, 5 over there. These squares have got to be 4, 8 or 9. That can't be an 8, that can't be a 4. 4, 9 pair now in row 4 of the grid. So that's good, because that means these 3 squares form a triple on 1, 3 and 5. And why is that good? Well, it means we can place the 1. We can never put a 1 next to a Tetris shape. These can't be 1s. This is the 1. That means we get a 3, 5 pair here, which means that's a 3 now. This is a 1, 2 pair. What a brilliant puzzle. It's just beautiful. 3, 5, 3, 5. 3 here means this is a 3. This is a 1, 5 pair, which means this is a 1, this is a 2. So there's a 2 here. That's the only place a 2 can go in this box. This 2 resolves that this is the 2 up here. It's probably been sitting there for a while. So that means that must be the 1, because we know that the 1 has to sit under the 2. That's not a 1. 3, 5 pair here. Now there's a 3, 5 pair here. But this one must be the lower digit, because it must be next to a higher digit in the white square. So that actually resolves itself. That forces this to be a 3. Two, 1, 3, 5. 5 in one of these squares. We need to put a 1 in this column. It can only go there. So that's a 1. 6 is in one of those 2 squares. This 3 means this square must be a 3. We need a 3 somewhere in this Tetris block. It can only go into that square. These 2 squares are 1 and 5. This one must be the 5. 5 up here. Oh, this is nice now. This 3 is going to fix it. 3, 1, 1, 5. This 5 is next to a 4 or an 8. Well, the white square must be higher. So that's 8, that's 4. That fixes this to be an 8. One 5 here, so there's a 4 to place in this column still. But the 1 here means this is a 1, that's a 5. So the 4 can't be there. Five must be in one of these 2 squares. 3 actually resolves the 3, 5 there. I could have done that before. So that's 5 and that's 6. This can't be a 4 because it's next to a 5, look. That creates a 7, 9 pair. That fixes all of these. This must be a 7 or a 9. This 5 is next to a 4 or a 6, so that must be a 6. Now the 4s, look, they force a 4 into one of those 2 squares. Well, this one would be next to a 5 in a grey cell, so the 4 is actually in the higher position there. Now this is the only place a 4 can go in this box. This now must be a 4, that's a 7 therefore. This must be a 9. Can fill in 7, 8 pair here. This must be a 9. That fixes the 9, 7 at the top. The 7 fixes the 7, 8 at the bottom. That fixes the 9, 7 and the 9 there. And I think we are on the home straight here. 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's a 6. That's a 7. That's an 8. This is what I'd submit. Yes. Wow. Wow, that really flowed today. I still didn't feel I was terribly efficient, but I think I got lucky a bit at the start. I think getting the 1, that the 1 was in the shape immediately, that was seriously helpful. Let me know how you guys get on, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic. Stay safe, everyone.